The world of film has become dominated by superheroes. Men in tights or armor or both have made it in Hollywood in a big way, taking over the box office with the ease that Iron Man might quip something witty, or the Hulk might slam around Loki in comical meme-creating fashion. Last year, the two biggest financial successes in film were both superhero movies, The Avengers and The Dark Knight Rises of Marvel and DC Comics fame, respectively. These were the culminations of years of planning by Marvel to combine all of its superhero franchises into one blockbuster, and DC's biggest movie character getting an end to his trilogy. Superhero franchises are so popular that they are rebooted only a few years after the previous film, given spin-offs and prequels like Wolverine and X-Men First Class, a parade of sequels and crossover films, everything. Live-action superheroes have come a long way since the days of the early serials. In fact, considering how long superheroes have existed in fiction in one form or another, it's surprising that it took this long for the concept to become such a massive phenomenon on the silver screen. There were a few pushes into the mainstream, but the bottom always fell out quickly. Richard Donner had a hand in progressing superheroes into big-budget films in 1978 with his adaptation of Superman. The first two were solid movies, but once Donner was gone, the subsequent sequels largely tanked both critically and commercially. It didn't truly launch superheroes as a genre in film, it just launched Superman. There wasn't anything even remotely close to it. It took Tim Burton's 1989 Batman and sequel Batman Returns to help move things forward, but the film industry still didn't pay superheroes much mind. The Phantom, Steel, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, and the multiple attempts at making Captain America fizzled out terribly. The new superhero film popularity was sparked by two trilogies, Spider-Man and Batman, helmed by Sam Raimi and Christopher Nolan respectively. Raimi was already a well-known filmmaker from his Evil Dead movies, and Nolan had gained notoriety for Memento, among others. Hollywood actually put smart people in the director's chair again, and lo and behold, good superhero movies started being released. There is a commonality among Donner's Superman, Burton's Batman, Raimi's Spider-Man, and Nolan's Batman. Unlike some superhero movies, these received the serious treatment by the directors. They were big, bold attempts to tell big, bold stories. Steel was not. Modern superhero stars like Iron Man became popular because studios actually grabbed big stars, gave it the budget it required, effort, and a level of real-world seriousness that it deserved. It was still funny here and there, especially with Spider-Man, but it was also grim and dark when it needed to be. The film industry took an excruciatingly long time to figure this out. Put credible directors and serious effort and reverence into your superhero films, they will turn out right, and people will buy tickets for them. Major names with big credentials want in on superheroes now. Ang Lee, Joss Whedon, even Darren Aronofsky was originally going to do a Wolverine movie before plans changed. It took until the 21st century for all of this to become a reality. But if one looks at history, it could have happened a lot sooner. With Orson Welles, no less. Orson Welles was an actor, director, writer, and producer who worked in radio, theater, and film. He was one of the greatest filmmakers of the 20th century, and his films are praised as some of the best of all time. He was also a big comic book fan. When he worked in radio, he was the voice of The Shadow, a mysterious pulp superhero. When Welles made his transition to film, he actually strongly considered adapting The Shadow onto the big screen. Today, superhero films are finally being handled with care by good writers and, for lack of a better term, auteur directors. But it took forever for this to become a reality. Welles decided against making The Shadow. But think about how film history might have changed if he had done it. There have been other film adaptations of The Shadow, but none handled by someone like Orson Welles. Based on how amazing his other pictures were, it would not be a big leap to say that his version of The Shadow would have been great, maybe even imitated by others the way Nolan and Raimi helped usher in a new era of superhero movies. Imagine Alfred Hitchcock directing a Superman movie, Stanley Kubrick directing Green Lantern, or Fritz Lang directing Batman. It sounds preposterous, but no more than the director of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Brokeback Mountain directing a movie about the Hulk. Wells could have made the superhero movie mainstream 60 years before it blew up into the biggest moneymaker for Hollywood in the 21st century. These days, superhero films can be an allegory for gay rights, but superheroes just weren't anything to be taken seriously in the time of Orson Welles. There is a chance he could have changed all that. Of course, this hypothetical Hollywood in which superhero films were popularized by Welles, and the subgenre given to auteurs early on, has a downside. Several ways in which such an attractive and exciting alternate history could also be unappealing. For example, had Welles pursued his Shadow movie, he may have fallen into the same routine as Raimi with Spider-Man and Nolan with Batman. Sequels. This presents two problems. For one, Welles would have had to focus on Shadow sequels to placate both the masses and his producer bosses, leaving less time to work on more famous and personal projects. Secondly, Raimi and Nolan have shown us that a concept can lose a lot of steam on the third iteration. We all remembered what happened to Spider-Man 3. Moreover, it must be noted that Christopher Nolan, who once meticulously and brilliantly planned, wrote, and edited Memento into a modern classic, began to have serious pacing and editing problems the further he progressed into his superhero films. One might surmise that success in such a popular genre made him lazy, or one could guess that he is just better at less overblown stories. Had Welles followed a similar path, it's possible that it could have had a similar and disastrous outcome. Also, minor note here, when he was considering making The Shadow or War of the Worlds, he eventually decided that the movie he wanted to make instead was a little picture called Citizen Kane. You know, one of the most important films of all time would not have been made. So, there's that. Whether the film industry would have been better with or without The Shadow can't be fully known, but it is something to think about whenever a good superhero movie or bad superhero movie is released, knowing that it all could have been very different.